kind of we will be trying to develop the certain kind of Saurabh ji is non-engineer. Anybody else also?
I'm a non-engineer.
Ankita, right? So just raise the hand. So just raise the hand so that okay, 1, 2.
So me too, Nigel.
I'm also
Okay.
non-engineer.
Right. So there is a very kind of population which is non-engineer, but majority I feel is coming from engineering background. Nevertheless, people may have some kind of concept beforehand that project management etc. are basically engineering forte. Partly it is true, partly it is not true. Right. However, we will be trying to develop the certain kind of conceptualization which can be used in service industry also. So that is the kind of thing. So a little bit further about myself, right? So after my engineering, I did MTech also, and nothing has to do so PhD also. So this is the kind of thing which I did. I was lucky enough to get into IIM Ahmedabad. I did my fellow program in management from there. And I took 6 years to pass my PhD. Number of years you take to pass your PhD depends on your guide's efficiency and your inefficiency. In my case, my guide was much more efficient than me. So whatever I am today, it is because of all his hard work and all that, right? So anyways, after my academics, I decided not to be in academics. And I got the campus placement in a stockbroking firm. You might have heard about angel broking, and it is in Bombay, right? You will be also, now you will be having the question, what the hell you were doing was in stockbroking. Though I was tending to project management, supply chain, all those kind of hardcore kind of subjects. The kind of work which I was doing in the stockbroking firm was, I was automating their manual processes, whatever they used to do from behind. You might have heard about DMAT, KYC, all those kind of processes, client code generation, all those kind of things I used to do at the backend in an automated fashion where people are not required. So two things were happening. One, I was making people redundant in their job, because if you automate something, people are not required to be in the job. Second thing which I was doing was I was able to unearth some scams also, because if you have automated something, you will realize what has happened versus what actually should have happened. And if there is a discrepancy between these two, either you are wrong or they are wrong, right? That is what it is. So exactly for 1 year I worked, and because of my Karistani, little bit Hindi, English is okay, right? So because whatever I did in 1 year, there is some blood of 85 people in my hand, right? For right reason, wrong reason, they lost the jobs. And every Friday was very, kind of painful in the sense that I used to sit with the HR to tick on the names which are not required from Monday onwards. So, I thought that this is not the right way of leading life, and I wanted to buy peace, and I had an option. So I applied to IIM Indore. They liked me. I also liked them, at least at that point of time. No, they still like me. So having said this, as I told you, my whole objective was to buy peace. However, again, I stand corrected. I lost all my hair in this place, right? And some of your hairlines are very good, except Balakumarji, right? And we are on the same boat. So another interesting thing has happened. My own guy ended up becoming director here, 6-year time frame. And he was, from, have you heard about TN session? Anybody, right? So he was exactly like that, right? So very hard taskmaster, my way or highway kind of person, right? And whenever person sits at the top, will work with only those fellows whom he trusts. And what is the best possible option for him? His own student. Neither he can say yes, neither he can say no, right? That kind of situation was there. So anyways, my first job was faculty in charge purchase. And government purchases, typical of their own kind. You will be meeting with some of the best people, or you will be meeting with CBI, CVC, all those kind of things. Nothing bad has happened. I'm still alive, right? You might have heard about common admission test also, CAT, right? This is the entry point to our IIM campuses. I was a CAT convener of 2013. You can search my name in Google also. However, if you search, there are some blogs where they have written a little bit abusive language against me. Don't believe them. I'm a nice guy and I know it very fully well. But these days people can write anything in any blog. So there were 6 High Court cases. And I had to present myself in front of double bench of Indore High Court, where I had to explain to the judges the mathematics, and judges had the background of history. So I don't know whether actually they have understood or not. For 45 minutes non-stop, one by one, judge got impressed and he said, "Professor, you are right." No, it's not that simple, right? But then they agreed, and we, because of my this thing, they made me CAT convener of 2014 also. After that, I said thank you, because it's a very, very tough job, right? In that sense, taxing, media, all those kind of people will be also after you and all that. My current position, I am the PGP chair, that is 2-year MBA program chair, and I became PGP chair in 1st April 2020. Interesting date, interesting year to become PGP chair, because all offline to online, were my responsibility. And in the last 2 years, I have got a lot of gali, right? And that's why I lost some further hair. Now there is not much opportunity on my head to lose further hair. So whatever I am today, right, will remain for certain years, right? So anyways, let's start today's session. And I have sent you one email also, right? So people have got some sense of what they have read or something like this, right? I'm just asking, just Sahil, some random name, Balakumarji, however you have able to find certain opportunity or time to read the case? No, yes, that will be also okay, but at least you will be getting the practice of saying no also. So have you read the case? You got the chance to read the case? No, yes?
Yes,
Right?
sir.
Yes.
Yes. It was a very interesting case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Say,
Yeah.
for the people who have not read the case, Bhai Sahab, I am a very nice guy. Some other professor will create a lot of problem, and I am the coordinator of this program. Right?
Say yes or no. Say yes, no.
Right? Shinoji, you are saying something? I just scan through the document and all those.
Yeah,
kind
I
of
would
things.
say yes and
Yeah. So please read the things, whatever has.
Yes, I have also read, sir. It was really interesting, to go through, sir. Very interesting content.
So some people will find it interesting who are coming from the engineering background. Some people may find it boring also, but this is the kind of thing, right? So what we will do is, I will start with 2-3 minutes video on Boeing, right? And it will tell you what are the things which they do and all those kind of things that will help you a little bit to conceptualize the physicality of the process, right? This is what it is. And after that, we will take on, right? So in that sense, because this is a kind of experienced batch. I have seen your experience. Almost all of you are from the working stage, right? So we will be also talking from that level, right? So let me start with the 2-3 minutes video. So video is on. Let me kind of thing share. Okay. So are you able to see a complete black screen?
Yes.
So
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It will become better. Video will become better.
Yeah.
So you would have got the sense, right? Okay, what is this product? This particular video might have also helped you in case you haven't read the case, right? This is the physicality of the process. In fact, the case also, take a lot of time to explain whatever you have seen, right? And that is what is the benefit of using the video. Now, having said this, can somebody help us to understand what is the basic issue in this case? If he has read them, so that everybody should be on the same page. Anybody? Otherwise, I will handle.
Sir, may I?
Yeah, please go ahead.
So what I can understand is this case takes us back to the 1980s era,
Yeah.
and the aviation was actually actually emerging, and what we can see today is the result of what was happening in during 1980s. So Boeing was planning to introduce a new product, which is 767.
New series of
Exactly, new series of planes,
Planes.
767, which was kind of a challenge for them because airframe happens to be one of the things, like we have a chassis for a car, like same way airframe requires a lot of investment in terms of development and in terms of the acceptability. A lot many factors are involved. So that was one thing they were working on, and in line with that, this case study takes us all through that stages of the product development, like how how this plan was worked out, and what all estimations, what all planning went ahead, and what all was forecasted, and in how they actually planned everything. So this was discussed, and then it takes us further to the costing part, how they worked upon the costing and the problems and the scheduling and the learning curve and all the challenges they could witness with this.
right. Right.
And finally,
Good. Very good.
it ends up at a crossroad where the chief, I guess, chief CEO has to decide whether they have to go with a two-person cockpit or a three-person cockpit.
Yeah.
And
And this is
that
where the
too-
case ends.
Yeah,
Right?
and that too, they have to decide it whether they have to do that modification, because earlier the earlier designs had three-person cockpit, but now they were trying to break into a new segment and introduce a two-person cockpit. And then question was whether they need to do the modification before the production or after the production. That was the challenge.
Okay, so here I would like to correct
Yeah.
a little bit here. So as Aditya has told almost all the things very well, right? Thank you, Aditya. See, the situation was that whatever they have conceptualized, they conceptualized with three people cockpit. This is what they said. But now what has happened is recently they have got also the approval of two people cockpit. So whatever 30 planes or some of the planes are in pipeline, what has happened is now what to do with them. So there are two options for them. One is to do it inline. Inline will mean that now what is the stage? I now will correct from three-bodied to two-bodied cockpit, right? And there is another option also to do whatever it is as per the plan, complete three-bodied plane, complete, and after that there is a separate space in which they want to do this modification. So this is where the case ends, right? And this is the situation here. So we'll take the final poll later on what they should have done, right? Or what they should do. So now let's start with the basic, and this is the base context from where we are understanding introduction to project management. So I will be talking about several issues here. I'll be also trying to talk to you about project management and marketing, sales, because this is the base case, right? And then we will be knowing what is the input of one, what is the output of other, right? So that kind of combinations we will be talking about. Sometimes my speed will be a little bit fast, right? Don't worry about that. You become shameless, right? Mujhe nahi aaya, right? Samajh mein, right? That is the best way to learn. Don't have any kind of inhibition and all those kind of things, right? So let me, but then too many questions, then I have the control, right? I'll pick and choose the questions, right? You can ask any question, answers are not guaranteed, but I'll try my level best. So let me share the screen with you. Are you able to see this? There is a slide here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can.
So generally I don't prefer to make slide, but then what happens is in the online medium, you require the discussion to happen within the scope, right? So that is the kind of thing, but we'll be talking more also as we go along. Suppose, let's say we are starting from the very base question, what is a project? Anybody who has handled the project and all those kind of things would like to state what is the project?
If I may, okay, project is a task that is in a defined time, start date and end date.
Okay.
So it will have your regular
project management cycle, you define and get a scope and get the requirements right, and put all the pieces together. Anything needs to be purchased, you need a head count, all fund out, go
Yeah,
there.
right. Okay.
Yep.
Punish.
Sir, yeah, Kushal here, sir.
Punish. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just to add on what has been added, sir, but it's a temporary nature, sir.
Very
It's a
good.
task
Very
and
good. Very good.
endeavor,
Very good.
and
Very good.
it's a kind of tactic also,
Yeah.
which is developed from a strategy. So
Hmm.
it's a tactic as well. A project is a
Okay.
tactic.
Right. Fair enough. Now I got whatever I wanted to know from you guys. Both of them were right, but one of the distinctive feature which Ponish has mentioned is it's a temporary endeavor. Temporary endeavor means frequency of that thing happening is one. Whatever you do after that, it will be going to operations for its maintenance and further things, right? So the clear-cut distinction between project and operations is very continuous. You keep on doing the same thing again and again. Project is once you have done it, it is done, right? This is the kind of thing.
Right.
Academically, we also define something like this. Combination of many projects will become a program, right? That is a kind of, for example, India's defense program, which consists of several projects. So project 1 plus project 2 plus project 3, n number of projects will become programs. So this is the basic definition when we start with the project, right? So temporary endeavor is a very important thing. Rest of
Sir,
the plus. Yeah.
I have a question, sir.
Yeah, please.
So yes, I understand it is a temporary. That is, if let's say any migration going on or any purchase or decommissioning or anything that sort.
Yeah.
But in client-based organization, they take all the projects, their client projects as a this thing, and that is not a temporary this thing, right? You never know when clients wants to end the contract, or so until then it goes on. But
So Srinivas ji, this is a project. This is the base definition. We'll keep on
Okay.
adding the features also, right? This is not.
No, I'm just
right.
trying to understand the difference. That's it.
Just keep the things in your copy.
Okay,
right?
okay.
So in case you have a confusion, write down in that, and then I'll give you a chance, right?
All right.
So let's see this further, right? So this is what is the base definitions. Video you have seen in the case highlights are also there. Let me mention this also. Boeing is a kind of dominated kind of company, right? It is basically not dominated. It is dominating other companies, right? So this is the kind of situation. The case mentions there are 2-3 other competitors, right? In the external environment. One was Airbus, and other was also some
2 American companies and 1 European company.
One European company. The advantage with European companies is basically they are backed by all the European consortium.
Concept,
Right.
yes.
And then, this is the kind of thing. And then what they are also saying is that somebody has already, Aditya, I think mentioned it was preparing for the launch of its newest class of planes, and which they are calling this 767 wide-bodied jet with 3 crew cockpit. Issue is, as of now, everything has done whatever they have done it in smooth manner. Manufacturing recently they have begun, and now they have got Federal Aviation Authority kind of approval, right? This is what it is. And now they have got the approval of 2 crew cockpit. This is the whole thing. Now we have the option inline versus offline. Inline means whatever you are doing, right? You correct it now and then move forward, right? Offline, and they have their own advantages, disadvantages also, which are mentioned in the case as we go along, right? So this is the first slide is basically the story of whatever has happened. Now, if we dig down a little bit deeper, what we understood is, and this is what Srinivas probably was mentioning is, as far as product is concerned, it's a complex product, all right? And why it is complex, friends? The reason being very simple. There are 85 miles of wiring, they are saying, all right? And then 3.1 million parts. So that means if a plane starts, goes up, stabilizes, comes back, all 3.1 million parts might have worked in entanglement with 85 miles of wiring very well. Are you able to say this? So you are not talking about any Tom, Dick, Harry kind of product. You are talking about something which has to work in tandem. There is no chance of any error. This is what it is, right? And you have seen also, in case this kind of product doesn't behave in the fashion they have been conceptualized and produced, whole of the company is in danger. You might have also heard about this in Malaysian Airlines or something like this. There was an accident, right, which has happened in 2 Malaysian Airlines, Boeing 7X7, if I don't remember the exact name, right? And automatically a lot of news was there, and automatically you could also observe news was also taken out. Nobody's talking about those, right? So why it happens? Because if people start talking more and more, it will directly be endangering the company itself. Nobody would like to buy their planes, right? So as simple as that. What was that Boeing which went inside the sea, right? Malaysian Airlines. I don't remember exactly, but this was the name. So it's a very, very, very complex product, right? Wiring wise, parts wise, this is the kind of situation. So for any project, when you think about something, when you are doing for the first period of time, one of the very basic feature in project further comes is as complexity. So you should have a mind that it's a very complex thing, right? This is the first thing. Another is it is uncertain also, right? Right, Srinivas? This is what you were mentioning, right?
Yes.
So what you're trying to do, right? It will be uncertain also. So now you see the imagination. We have found 3 features of this. First is temporary. It is complex. It is uncertain. Why in this case it is uncertain? And complexity, I have already told you why it is so. Process itself is very, very complex. Scale of the operation is very, very huge, 63-acre campus, right? So many engineers, some 26,000 people are working, and facility-wise, very, very huge, resources-wise also. So everything has to be, in fact, they are talking about 1,300 vendors also, right? Which have to work in that sense, right? So quality output of them will become input to my plane, right? This is the kind of thing. Uncertain, which I already told you. Time and cost wise, a lot of uncertainty is there. So whatever you would have planned, it may not go according to that kind of thing. Time, why? Because the product itself takes so many years to get, made. Final plane, it will take, people were mentioning in the case, it takes 3 to 5 years. This is what it is. And 3 to 5 years, cost will also change. Technology itself will change, whatever they would have thought about, right? So this is the kind of uncertainty which is there. Now, client-based kind of thing, Srinivaji, clear? Make sense?
Thank you, sir.
Right. So it is as same as what you were mentioning. And time and cost due to is technology changes will happen. Basically, I have taken from the case itself what they're mentioning. Product configuration itself will evolve as the first unit is in production. So you don't know what is going to happen. Now, after having said this, let's start with the business as such. Environment wise, you can see how many sellers are there in this kind of industry. The case is mentioning 2 to 3. Very, very few sellers are there. And why there are few sellers? Because the capital involved in this kind of product is very, very huge. Nobody can come suddenly and start making the product, right? So this is the kind of thing. In fact, how many number of buyers will be there also? How many number of airlines probably would be there in the world?
40 plus, I think.
According to the case. So let's say
Very few, sir.
right, very
Not
few,
that.
right?
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing. So this is the situation now, friends. Few sellers and technically few buyers also. If you are in this situation of few sellers and few buyers, and let's put your leg in this particular kind of company, let's say this is your own company, what will be the pressure on you?
Definitely is a huge pressure because
But why there will be pressure on you?
the
ROI.
kind of risk and ROI also involved.
Which is
So the
right.
company is at stake because it can make or break for them.
Yeah, that is always there. But I tell you,
So chances of
The
getting wrong
business is very
less.
limited.
one second, one by one, raise the hand, right? And then speak. Otherwise, I also don't know who is speaking, who is not. So Kushal, you want to say something? Okay, Kushal is not there. Manish, you would like to say something?
Sir, basically I want to say chances of getting wrong is very less. Like if we go wrong, that lot of things are at stake and then you cannot have a reverse cycle.
Actually, before that, let me tell you, if there are very few buyers, you will be having tremendous pressure of doing customization for them. Everybody see this?
Yes, sir.
And your airlines will excuse you. They will totally take everything from you, right? As best as possible. Now you imagine if you have to do customization also, We have already talked about the complexity of the product based on the parts and the wires, and you are also into the pressure of customization. What will happen, right? Your process will become further complicated. Are you able to see this? And in fact, it will also reflect in your risk, which you rightly said. It will also reflect in the time. It will also reflect in the cost. Are you able to see this? This is the kind of business you are involved, right? So let me keep on adding the features of a project. So sellers, very, very few. Large sum of capital is involved. Risk element is very, very huge because of this. Competitors, only 2 other players. It signifies the same thing, whatever, and what they compete for, interestingly, they will compete on the acceptability of their planes only. In fact, in case a big airline purchases a product, right, of plane of yours, you will be very lucky. In case the big airline, one single airline has purchased your competitor products, all other airlines, that will be their motivation to go in the same direction. You might have also heard about this. When India decided to purchase, India is a big consumer for this kind of things, for defense equipment. You might have also heard about this when India decided to purchase once upon a time Sukhoi and now Rafale. Right? It is but natural. There were news items also. Prime Minister also got the call from Trump also. He might have also got the call from Putin also. He might have also got the call from several other countries also. Purchase our products. And sometimes these kind of things are also election issues in the local countries. Why it is local issue there? Because it also means a lot of employment which is sustainable for a certain number of years. For example, if India wants to purchase 100 planes, just for the sake of argument, right? So much capital is involved, and that will also continue the employment in those companies. And in fact, it will go towards the level of president and prime ministers also, right? So this is the way it is. So for example, if India has decided to purchase Rafale, you can see the valuation of Rafale will be very, very high. In fact, any other country, right, what will happen is their particular thing, India ne kharid liya hai, so we should also purchase it, right? So it will totally swing the whole system, right? And you have seen that this is what people generally do. So this particular thing is also their acceptability of their planes only. In fact, 1 to 2 customers can swing the large percentage of sales towards somebody else, right? So you have to be very, very careful here. In fact, buyers also, as you rightly said, 50 to 70, I just upgraded some number, maybe it is 100 also, right? It's okay, right? But what we are saying is, these are the number of airlines and situation of few buyers and few sellers. And I have also talked about, because of this, there is a huge pressure of customization also. Are you able to see this? So this is the kind of thing. So in any kind of case, any kind of situation, let's understand it from the business perspective also, right? So this is the kind of thing. And this as a Boeing 767. Yeah. Kushal, you want to say something? Kushal is not there. Nigel, you want to say something?
Yeah, so I just want to understand, can you explain this, why fewer sellers would give pressure?
I'm here, but by mistake, I just switched on my this.
Okay, now, wait, Kushal. Now Nigel will speak. Yeah. Nigel, you were saying something? Yeah, I understood your question, but just repeat so that.
Yeah, so what I want to understand is, you made a statement that fewer sellers would pressure more customization, you said, but there are fewer buyers also, right? I mean, why would, if I want something, I mean,
logic is, because of few buyers, you don't have any other market.
But wouldn't these 2 companies hold monopoly in the market?
No monopoly. In fact, this statement is very important. Are you able to see this?
One to customer.
Right? Are you able to see this?
Yes, I can see.
1 or 2 customers have purchased your product, or they have not purchased your product. What will happen? All other airlines will follow the same suit. You might have, I will give you another example. You might have heard about this in Balakot strike. One of the, according to India's claim, what has happened is they hit one F-16 from MiG Bison. Right? This was the kind of thing. It was a 3rd or 4th generation plane which has hit the 5th generation plane. Right? This was the kind of thing. India also shouted. Pakistan also shouted. Nothing has happened. Nothing has happened. After this, what has happened is America also kept quiet. Are you able to say this? No further inquiries, nothing. In fact, there was one report, this is all fake and all those kind of things. India has not done this, all those kind of things. You can count, Pakistan also claimed you can count the number of F-16, whatever we have, we still have those, all those kind of things were there. After this, Pentagon also came out and said that just keep shut, right? So this is the kind of thing. Can you imagine if they would have done the investigation in so much openness, with so much openness, you may easily think all their future sales would have been in danger. Are you with this, Nigalji? Right? So this is the kind of.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, so this is the kind of thing.
Done.
Right?
Thank you.
So yeah. Now let's go further. Operational issues. There are huge operational issues also. Volume wise, let's understand how much volume you believe these kind of products will have. Total sales, number of counts of planes. Will it be in thousands? Will it be in lakhs?
Sir, it will be
Should
like
be-
annually in hundreds,
In
100,
hundreds.
200 maximum.
100.
Annually.
100 and 1000 something in between.
Thousands तो यार नहीं होगा.
Hundreds,
Thousands
hundreds.
हो जाएगा.
Probably in hundreds.
Right?
I'll go with
Hundreds.
hundreds.
Right? So few hundreds, small in numbers, few hundreds. This is but natural option for us. And if you are producing very less number of planes, what will happen to your break-even volume?
Will take time to achieve, sir.
Right? So that means you have to sustain your working capital for this much number of times. So basically what Kushal is saying is, if you are producing very less number of planes overall, your break-even volume will be stretched in future. That means break-even will come after a certain number of years. And assuming your planes are getting sold also, where there itself is a risk. Right, Kushal ji, Nigal ji, Aditya ji, make sense? Their names are coming first. Jatin ji, make sense?
Exactly.
Right, so break-even volume, and everybody understand what is the break-even volume?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. So people who don't understand what is break-even volume, right, and they may be a little bit shy. Let me tell you, at this point, you are making no profit, no loss in terms of fixed cost and variable cost. So that is what it is. But in our accounting courses, you will be given more examples related to that. So in a rough cut language, you say this is by this much numbers, I will recover my complete cost in terms of fixed and variable cost. Right, Priya ji? Make sense? Aditya ji? Make sense? Right, Jatin, I'm just taking some of the names. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Right? So this is,
No, sir, I didn't get it.
Sir, operational cost meet होना basically.
रुक जाओ यार, कई लोग वहां से नहीं आता है ना यार. Right? देखो, let's say at certain level, what happens is that you basically in any kind of system, I'm just giving you a rough idea. I don't want to do something which some other faculties will be also doing something in detail, right? So what happens is in everything you have fixed cost plus the quantity which you make multiplied by variable cost. Make sense, right? So this is the kind of thing. So whatever this Q number is there, when you recover all the costs, right, Vikramji? Make sense, right? So that is the kind of thing which we will be able to recover everything from there, right? So what volume, right, I will recover all the costs which are involved in my system, right? So Priyaji, at this stage, you should have only this knowledge. My faculty will come and they will explain you with numbers, right? This is the kind of thing. Because this is but natural. Suppose you are in the business, you have incurred this much cost, fixed cost plus variable cost, you want to recover it. But then what will happen is fixed cost will remain same. But based on this particular variable cost and all this kind of thing, that will keep on increasing based on the volume, right? But you want that kind of volume where you would have recovered the fixed cost, which includes, because when you are producing something, you are also selling it also, right? So you will be having price also, you will be recovering some money also on that. So at what quantity which you sell, you will be able to recover those kind of costs. So that is the rough cut idea about that. So basically what we are saying is break even will be stretched. Maybe 3 to 5 years of production. This is the kind of business. Now you know why few sellers are there, right? Who can sustain? In fact, the case mentions something very interesting, which is known as learning curve economies. I will not get any other opportunity to make you understand what is learning curve. So you'll understand learning curve also. And after that, we'll be doing 2 examples on learning curves also, so that you will be very, very thorough with this. So what is learning curve as such? So let me first build up certain kind of intuition for you. You might have heard about, this is a very famous book, Outliers. right? And in this book, the author articulates 10,000 hours rule. What is 10,000 hour rules? Basically, that is also based on certain studies done by the previous researchers and all those kind of things. Basically, what it means is exceptional success requires substantial amount of practice. So basically what we are saying is, if you keep on repeating the same thing again and again, the performance in terms of the cost and time improves. For example, if you would have done first program of CPPM, if we have repeated this in the second, if we have repeated this as a third batch, what will happen is all the irritation, operational irritations will keep on becoming lesser and lesser. Are you able to see this? So this is what it is. In fact, my time and my cost will also keep on reducing as we increase the number of repetitions. By the same logic, I am also taking you to danger zone for me. The fees which we would have charged in the first batch, right? If you would have considered this concept to be true, and if Vikram ji, Kushal ji, Aditya ji, Jatin ji, right, come back to me and said, how can you charge the same fees to me? Because the time and effort which you required in the first batch was much more higher. In my case, my effort is little bit less. You should be charging me less. As simple as that. But since you have already paid the fees, I will not, nothing bad will happen to us. So that is what it is, right? Are you able to say this, Vikram ji, right? In fact, all these IT companies, right, when they keep on telling to the clients, we are doing some customization for you, right? Do you think they do some kind of customization? Answer is no. Many times they will chipcow the same SAP system to the other companies, right, to the clients, right, at the end of the day. But then you would have also seen first implementation, lot of time. Second implementation, less time, then less time, then less time, then less. So this is what we are trying to understand. So let's try to build up the logic very clearly. For example, the Beatles, right? This is a very famous, band. So they performed like 1,200 times between 1960 and 1964, right? Accumulating 10,000 hours of practice. So this particular book talks about the commonality of those kind of things, right? And before they went to the top of the charts. Microsoft founder Bill Gates, that is what they are also saying, 10,000 hours of programming, right? And he has developed QBasic and all those kind of. Our lives also same hold for the world of business also, right? So let me explain you. And employee corporation industries, right? So they keep on doing this. Individual level, I can explain you another corporate example. Amazon, etc. They face a major operation challenge of November every year because of the Christmas holidays and New Year. The number of shipments from the company warehouses, right, they have to increase. To respond to this kind of demand, Amazon recruits thousands of temporary workers. However, these temporary workers are new to the job. The errors or the kind of inefficiencies which they bring will be a little bit higher at the start. For example, over 6 to 8 weeks, the productivity of these employees increases by 200%, right? So this is the kind of thing. In other words, an employee can handle 3 times the number of shipments, right, in his 8th week or so in comparison to first week of the work. Similarly, other research is also there where they are also saying that doctors doing surgery of, for example, prostate cancer, right, keeps on improving their experience level and all those kind of things. So here also we'll be talking about learning curve experience. Company level, now we are getting into production and all those kind of things also. Over the course of production, right, in the disk drive industry also, and whatever I'm talking about, I'm not talking about based on my whims and fancies. It is based on established research, right? It commonly takes 1 to 2 months of defect rates, processing time and production volume to hit the target level. So it takes some time and in their complete product life cycle. Further improvement of more than 20% in quality, etc. will be also there, and doubling of the production output are the norm. So that means if you keep on increasing the number of units of production, your process parameters keeps on improving. This is what they say. So this is the point which I'm trying to make, right? So there are several reasons why this should be true. So now let's understand also what are the type of learning curve. So it captures the relationship between the performance metric of operations and the experience. What is the meaning of experience? Number of replications which you are doing. So this is what we are talking about. So this is in the x-axis. Y-axis is the performance parameter, right? So as cumulative experience increases, so does the performance. Variables are processing time, labor content, defect rates, unit cost, right? This will be in the y-axis. Just to let you know, the graph generally looks like this. Are you able to see this? So basically processing time, right? Whatever I'll take, it will keep on, and this is the number of replications. Are you able to see this, right? Is it clear, friends, right? So this is the kind of thing. So generally it's a downward sloping, right? Kind of thing. So experience of the process, number of replication will be put in the x-axis, shape of the curve is downward sloping, right? So let's understand and try to make a model over that. So each doubling of the cumulative experience, and I will also tell you why I use the word doubling later on, right? Let's say every time you double, because we have to make an equation which is easily tractable. So each doubling of cumulative experience, the performance improves by a fixed percentage, and this we'll call this cumulative experience. It also measures the total number of units produced up to a point of time and also the cumulative output. So let's understand. Let's say the performance improves by 20%. What is the meaning of this 20% is something like this. Just for the sake of time, let's say time to produce the unit. So what we are saying is if it is 20% improvement, then T2 divided by T1, which is the time taken for the second unit divided by the time taken for the first unit, this should be nothing but 0.8. Make sense? Am I right? There is a 20% improvement, right? Priya ji, Jatin ji, Kushal bhai, Vikram ji.
Why 0.8?
Because suppose, just for the sake of illustration, we are saying 20% improvement. Make sense, right? It is just for the sake of illustration. We make it generalized also as we go along, right, Srinivas? Bye. Make sense?
Each
Any doubt
20%, each 20% is an just for example.
Yeah. It is just for the illustration purpose, right? Make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Got it.
So we finally we'll change this also, right? We will make it generalized also, right? So this is the kind of thing. By the way, we have defined each doubling of experience. My logic will be based on this. Then T4 by T1, friends, what it should be? It should be 0.8 square. Make sense? This is the kind of thing.
Correct. Yep.
We can also write down, because each doubling, T8 by T1. Are you seeing this? And I will keep on doing the same. Let me make it more logical way of defining this. Can we write down Tn divided by T1? Let me put this as a subscript. This will be nothing but based on this expression, log of 2n. Understood this thing? Understood? Can we put it like this? Yeah. Sahil bhai.
Sir, I have one doubt that
Why log, sir? Sorry.
1 second. अभी पहले साहिल को पूछने दो, उसके बाद हाथ खड़ा करो, उसके बाद मैं बताऊंगा. हाँ.
ठीक है.
sir, n represents the doubling rate, right?
What is that? फिर से?
N represents the doubling rate, right?
Doubling. No, n represent the number of outputs which you are doing, right? So that is, yeah. Somebody else was asking about log. Yeah, what was your question?
Yeah. Like why we are putting the log?
Because we can find, right? Are you able to see this? So when we had, for example, just for the sake of argument, have you heard about 2 to the power 3? How much will be the value? 8.
8.
Right? In terms of our 6th or 7th, when the logs were being taught in the schools?
Yeah, 6th, 7th, yeah, right.
7th, right?
Yeah.
So what was at that point of time, you might have understood why the hell they are teaching you log. Now you will understand why the hell they were teaching us log, right? So this was the kind of thing. So let's understand. So what is the meaning of this? Basically what we say is log of 8 on the base 2 should be equal to
3.
This is the definition of log. Right? Make sense, Sanjay bhai?
Yeah.
Abhi samajh gaye? So we are trying to make a generalized model, right? So this is the first step. So let me repeat again. Tn divided by T1, let's say Tn was 8. So what will happen is, in this case, we have to get 3. So what we should write down?
Oh, got it.
Base 2 of?
Yeah.
Abhi sahi hai?
हाँ समझ गया.
ठीक है? Now, if we are doing like this, friends, very simple way of explaining this further is something like this. If I want to solve right hand side and left hand side, I will be smart. I will take the log in both the sides, right? So what will be the kind of thing? Log, let's say here we take a log on the base 10, right? Doesn't matter. And then we are also saying this will become Tn divided by T1 is equal to log 2 of n multiplied by log 10 of 0.8. You are with me. We can also solve it something like this. Log 10 of n divided by log 10 of 2, right? Base into this. And now because we have assumed 20% improvement, for a specific case, let's make it generalized. So what I'll say is multiplied by log 10 of, in terms of generalized way, I will write down learning rate, right? So what was the specific case which we solved till now? We solved that learning rate was 80%. We are also saying that the improvement is 20%. Understood the whole logic, right? If improvement is 20%, then learning rate was 80%. That is the definition. Are you able to see this? That means learning, always you do it 80 kind of thing. So every time you are improving by 20% with respect to the previous one, right? That is the kind of thing. Yeah. So Kushal ji, you have a question or your hands are always up here? So I get confused whether you are having the questions till eternity. You have a question?
Sir, I just forgot to raise it down. I'll just put it. Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. So any doubt till now? Yeah, Nikhil?
Sir, sorry, but is there a text for this which we can refer to afterward? I mean,
I am the text यार. अभी तुम text के बारे में क्यों सोचता है? Right? Right? Am I doing anything rocket science? No, I am just using class 7. अब तुम बोलता है class 7 के लिए भी मुझे book चाहिए. क्या बात करता है यार?
Right? No problem.
Right? हाँ, Monish bhai.
Can you repeat it one more time?
Total overall?
Yeah, overall.
Okay. So देखो ध्यान से आप सुनना बाकी सब लोग, right? So what we are saying is, suppose I am making the second unit. Improvement is 20%. That means this time taken by the second unit in comparison to the first unit should be, because we are assuming a specific case. Is this right? Make sense? And for the sake of argument, we are putting this also, right? Make sense? Was in one is by
Yes.
Yes. Let's say we double it because our definition is this. By the way, we will be also finding the value. If we don't double it, then in between also we will be able to find the value, right? So that is what it is. Then if we double further, then what happens is it should become previous 0.8 multiplied by current 0.8. Make sense, Manish bhai?
Yeah, makes sense.
Right? We also said, just for the sake of argument, so that we can do the analysis, we said 0.8 to the power cube. That is also true. So if we keep on doubling, we get this kind of thing. So what I did was, I made a generalized expression with 20% improvement kind of expression, and we said this should be true. Right? Manish bhai, make sense?
Yes.
Right? So we said power will be always in terms of the log, right? So that is what it is. And our definition is 2 to the power 3 is equal to 8. So we express this in logarithm form. How? Log base 2, 8. That means if you want to reach 8 in the respect of 2, how many times you have to multiply 2? So you have to multiply 3 times. This is the meaning of our class 6th or 7th law. Right, Manish bhai? Make sense? Srinivas, make sense?
Yes.
Right? Srinivas, are you okay? Right? So this is what we are saying. Now what I did was, I did a very simple thing. I want to convert this left hand side and right hand side equal. So I have taken log on the left hand side to the base 10. So I can do here. I can also make the things here. And you know, we also know that log of x to the power y ka kya hota hai? Y log x, right? So that is the kind of thing, right? So we have taken power will come here multiplied by log of this. But then 0.8 is my specific example, right? So if it is specific example, I have defined this 0.8 as learning rate. Improvement is 20%. This is what we are saying. So that means learning rate is 80%. And now I will replace this 0.8 by learning rate, right? Makes sense? This is the thing which I did. Now let's go to Excel and see what will happen by different learning rates, right? But as of now, we also assume that something is doubling always, but we have not understood what will happen if we don't double, but we have a 3, 5, 6, all those kind of numbers are there. So we will be doing this thing, right? So my request is you take the picture of this slide and then help me to develop the Excel also.
So I cannot see the below part of it.
Below you are unable to see. Thoda sa aap thik karo yaar apna. The kind of setup. Okay. What I'll do is I'll write down at the top also. Dekho, this is the way project is happening. Okay. Anyways. Log 10 Tn divided by T1, right? Is equal to log 10 of n divided by log 10 of 2, which we know 0.3010 will come, but we'll calculate in Excel. Multiplied by log 10 of learning rate. Picture le liya?
Yes.
Right. अब चलते हैं Excel में, and I'll give you the Excel also later on, right? So let's do that. So let me open one Excel, which is the kind of thing. 19th. So this is the Excel. Okay, so in fact, let me also make you understand what will be the final meaning of this, and then we'll calculate about different learning rate also. Let's say 80% was my learning rate. So what we said was, what we meant was, let's say I make this kind of table also. Units produced, sorry for the little bit bad handwriting, labor hours used, then we have cumulative labor hours also, then we have average labor hours required per unit. So if we are having one, and let's say just for the sake of illustration, we take 100 labor hours for making 1 unit. Cumulative will also become 100. Average will become 100. No problem. For second unit, I am assuming 80% is my learning rate. So this should become 80, right? Then cumulative should be 160. 160 divided by 2 will become 80. We are doing reverse calculation. That means this number should be 60. Understood? Logic? Make sense? You understood this calculation? Whatever I did from hand, when we have 80%.
Sir, please, can you please come again?
60 how it came?
Ah.
60 is not
So
clear.
what I said was, just therefore, units produced, I kept on increasing. Labor hour used, just for the sake of argument, suppose first is 100 labor hours. Cumulative labor hours, for the first case, it will be the average labor hours required, 100 divided by 100. Make sense for the first?
Okay. Okay.
Now you are saying, for the sake of argument, 80% learning rate.
Learning rate. Okay.
Average labor hours for the second unit will become
80.
If it is 80, that means cumulative should have been
160.
160.
And in order to make this 160, actual labor hours required for the second unit should be
60.
understood. This is the meaning of whatever we have done till now. Now suppose we have third unit. Suppose we have fourth unit. Then fourth unit average, so we know it will be 64. This I don't know. This I don't know. This I don't know. But if it is 64, I know for fourth it will be 256. And I also don't know what will be this value. Are you able to see this? So in order to fill these four values, we require to have a kind of table which we will generate for different learning rates. But as of now, learning rate is 80% just for the sake of illustration. Are you able to see this? Take the picture of this. And we will fill this table also by the calculation which I am doing. Right? Make sense? Thoda handwriting ganda hai, but this is the meaning of this, right? So take the picture of this. Make sense? Picture le liya?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let me show you the calculation which I wanted to do when we develop the equation. So let's say number of units are n, 1, 2, for the sake of argument. Let's say learning rate can vary from 0.65, right? 0.70, 0.75. So we have a pattern. And let's say I have 0.95. You can go to 0.96, 97, 98, anything, but this is what it is. Now, what is the equation, friends? Whatever we had, log 10 of Tn divided by T1 is equal to log 10 of n log 10 of 2 multiplied by log 10 of learning rate. This is what we say, right? This is what we got. So let's solve the right hand side. So n value we already know. What is the right hand side? Log 10 of this number,
10 of 10,
right? And what I want is, I don't want a row should remain constant, so I will put dollar here, right? Make sense? Then we have to multiply this by this factor, right? So what we should write down here? Log 10 of, oh sorry, log 10 of n. This is sorry, this thing we are calculating. So I have to first instead of this, okay, bhai, don't get angry, and then divided by log 10 of 2. Are you able to see this? We have calculated this side, right? Rajvijay ji, understood? Right? This is the side which we did. Now, for the kind of, because this factor we have multiplied, then multiplied by log 10 of learning rate. What is the learning rate here?
80.
And we want first row to be always constant. This is the kind of thing. By the same logic, we want a row to be constant, but 2 should be varying, right? This is what it is. This kind of calculation will tell you that we have done completely the right hand side. What has happened? Right? This will tell you that we have already done the right hand side calculation. But then left hand side is this. So logic will tell you whatever right hand side you calculated, right? And I will complete this right hand side by putting one more bracket. How to get the left hand side? Left hand side will be 10 to the power of this thing. You remember anything? You remember this was the equation. This was the right hand side. So what was the meaning of this? 2 to the power 3 is equal to 8. So what will happen is, if base 10 is this, so 10 to the power right hand side will be equal to Tn divided by T1. This fraction will keep on happening. Answer for 1 to 1 should be 1. 1. Right? Are you able to see this? When you are comparing 1 with 1, answer will be 1. Now let's say for 2, what will happen, friends? Here, it should be, you see, 80%. Right? For 2, it should be 80%. 3, 4, and let's say we do it till 1, 2, 3. And let's say we do it till 15 or 15, right? So that we can get the table very, so we can develop this table. Just for the sake of argument, we are saying 0.8. Now, if 0.8 is there, the third value was written how much? 0.702. That means T3 divided by T1, this value should be 0.702. T1 is how much? 100 labor hours in our example. So this should become how much? This value should become
70.7.
This will be 70.2. If it is 70.2, what will be the cumulative one? 70.2 into 3.
230.
230.
200.
210, sorry.
210.
210.
210.6. If it is 2.210.6, then what will be this value? 50.6. Understood? This is only 50.6.
Right.
And then this should be 45.6. Make sense? Now you see, for every unit, you know exact number of hours. And if you know exact number of hours, what will happen is, you can also calculate the cost of every unit. Are you able to see this? Make sense? That means this is a very micro level way of calculating the cost of every unit when you are repeating the same thing again and again. Right, Saurabh? Right? This is the kind of thing. And in fact, I can show you also, if you see the curves, which I can make just for the sake of argument, how these curves will look like. And just for the sake of this thing, are you able to see this? Everything is going downward. That means improvement in the initial stages will be very huge. After that, the improvements keeps on reducing. That's why we had logarithmic curves, right? That's why we have a logarithmic. So logarithmic क्या होता है? वो धीरे-धीरे slow down करता जाएगा. Are you able to see this? And after some point of time, it will be like this. Right? Clear, friends? If this situation is clear to you, I will use this to solve certain problems of airplane kind of context, right? And those kind of things, right? So that will give you the clarity how to use this table, right? Because learning curves generally people are not aware of, but internal costing purposes, internal kind of measures, you have to maintain it, right? So this is what it is, and that defines your profitability also.
Sir, one question.
Yeah, please.
Yes, so when you say that after certain time the learning curve effect will reduce, like means that the improvements will not have that much, like what we achieved is maximum. Now we'll
just wait. When you are talking about billions of dollars, even in point improvement, right? I'll be still getting some lakhs of dollars, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
आप समझ गए? So वो कहने वाली बात है, whatever I said. Are you able to see this? Improvement percentage will keep on a little bit smaller and smaller. But if you multiply by the business kind of volume of the dollars of sales, it will be still very huge, right? And this is the difference if customer don't understand this learning curve versus you understand the learning curve, and let's say you are selling the same unit with the same prices, what will happen is you will make huge amount of corpus for you. And this learning rate, this information is with whom? With the buyers or with the sellers?
With the buyers.
With sellers.
No, sellers.
Buyers के पास कैसे होगा? Buyers are not producing anything, Srinivas bhai.
Yeah, no, it's my bad. So it's sellers.
Right. It will be only at the seller side. And in order to extract the right information, you know how much the price negotiation should happen. Are you able to see this? But one thing is very clear. The buyer also know that there is a learning curve concept. That buyer know. Are you able to see this? But then at what learning rate they should negotiate? This is between the two parties. Are you able to see this? So this is the kind of thing. Buyers try to extract as much as possible, right? And seller wants to hide as much as possible. That is what it is.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
I understand the math behind learning.
No, math is not important.
No.
You know the concept.
Yeah, concept, yes. But just a confusion because learning curve, I mean, the 20% that we were talking about, right, is not
It's
actually...
a specific case.
In this example, yes, 20, but it is not a mandatory that we should always either it go beyond or more, less than 20% as well. It is our target basically, correct?
No target. You are maintaining the real data also. First unit, how much time you do. Second unit, how much time you do. Third unit, how much time you do. Right? You have the data, right? Over that data, you can find what is the superimposed learning rate. Srinivas, understood?
Frankly speaking, I'm still
lost. Suppose you have a company. You know how many exact number of hours you required for the first unit.
Okay.
You also know how many number of hours you required for the second unit. You also know how much is the actual number of hours of the third unit. Are you able to see this?
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
T4 also. So you have some 10, 12 units which you have produced. You maintain this data. I will tell you also, it will be very easy to calculate the approximate learning rate for you, which will superimpose all those data points. Make sense?
Okay.
Then you can, if you fix this once, what will happen, friends? You can keep on estimating the cost for all the future number of units. Understood?
Okay, sure.
And I will show you also from both ways, right? If you maintain the data versus if you don't maintain the data and you work with an approximate number also, right? So your particular thing is, what is the real learning rate for you if you are producing something? That is your question, right?
Yes.
So I will show you also how to calculate the learning rate itself if you maintain that data.
Thank you, sir.
Right? So then the things will be very, very clear to you, right? So as of now, I have shown you, given a learning rate, what will be the different number of, for a unit basis, what will be the different times which will be incurred. Make sense? Kushalji, Rajeshwar bhai? Make sense? This is the kind of thing. And in fact, I have just used the number as time. You can also use the cost angle also. You can also calculate some other dimensions also. Are you able to see this? All those things will follow certain kind of learning rate, right? This is what it is. Sanjay ji?
The learning rate, whatever we have calculating, it is for the buyer, but it is known fact, right? For buyer.
No, it is for both. Sanjay ji, it is for both. It is for buyer also, it is for seller also. The problem with buyer is that buyer actually don't know what is your actual learning inside the company. Right? You understood?
Yes.
Right? Concept wise, अब तो मैंने आपको बता दिया. Suppose you are a buyer also, you will be making life of supplier interesting, right?
Yeah, that is like, this is not, this concept is known to everyone. Right?
Yes, concept is known. But the value of learning rate is where you negotiate between each other.
Yes, right.
Right? And if I am getting into the purchase of billions of dollars, definitely I should get into this kind of negotiation. Otherwise, I am making huge loss for myself as a buyer.
Right.
And then the seller is making good amount of money. Just to tell you.
Sir, just one
Wait,
idea, like from software.
Write down your question in your copy when I'm telling you this, right? Now imagine any of the IT companies. Again, take the same example. There are some people from the IT industry also in this batch, right? You will definitely know first implementation of any customized solution on the client side will take certain number of effort, certain number of hours, certain level of costing. Is it right?
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
On the second installation,
Yes.
there will be certain improvement which will happen over the previous one.
Sir, you said improvement decreases.
Improvement will be there, na? वो तो logarithmic scale है. The ratio of that improvement will keep on decreasing. This is what I said. But improvement will be there.
Okay.
Correct.
Are you able to say this?
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Thanks.
And if you say to the client, let's say client is Rohit Kapoor, and Rohit understand learning rate, and then you are saying, sir, we don't improve, sir. What I will tell you is that means you are not customizing solution for me. So whatever drama you did by your marketing and sales person to tell me that you are doing some customization, that was fraud. Right? Am I right by this logic? Either you are not doing any customization, or if you are doing customization, there should be some improvement, maybe less. Am I right? Make sense? Jatin bhai, Sanjay bhai, Yuvraj?
Yes, sir.
Srinivas?
Right, sir. This is what I think the case study also mentions. that, yeah, some airlines would like to delay their ordering to take advantage of price reduction due to learning.
I agree. Completely, I agree. Are you able to say this? So these concepts are generally not there, but I'll explain you the concept also. I'll give you some practice problems also. Clear, my dear friends? Right? So just be with me, right? And in case you want some advanced material also, right? Because for the first session, I thought that if I give you too many equations and all those kind of things, you will get caught up. But I'm telling you, whatever equation we are developing, it's not the maths. Understand the managerial meaning of this. Right, Nikhil bhai? Right? What is the use fun of this particular mathematics? You already have these tables already made. Right? Right? So then you know if somebody will give you this table, role of mathematics is over. And then you have to just pick and choose the values. Are you able to say this? But we also know in this session, because we are doing a little bit in comprehensive manner or in rigorous manner, we should also know and don't buy it as a black and box. Right? But even if you don't understand mathematics, nothing has been lost. Are you able to say this? This is just a table which will be created by anybody. Right? And then you should know how to use those tables. Right, Deepak bhai? Jatin, make sense? This is what we are saying. Yeah.
Rohit sir, good morning.
Yeah.
So this improvement, what you are explaining, this is in terms of function and real time also. So this is blend of this is
actually
blend of function.
Actually, you can project also. Yeah.
Okay. So this is blend of function and time, we can say.
And time, right? You can do. And in fact, in the massive kind of these products which are very complex, you know, this will be very, very handy in some sense between my pricing of the product versus what customer agrees.
Yes.
Are you able to do this? And
Yes,
the difference between that is my overall profit.
Yes, exactly. Thanks.
That's it.
Yes.
Yuvraj bhai.
Yeah, sir, good morning. One question. So for particular manufacturing industry, let's say, okay. So use the learning curve that will improve the productivity also. But similarly, at the same point, let's say quality.
Deepak ji, you can mute yourself.
Yes.
So how to capture other issues like material shortage?
So Yuvraj, in the manufacturing setup, maybe processing time may not be the right measure, but defect rate may be the right measure.
Okay.
Are you able to see this? And defect rates generally
that time defected.
Are you able to see this? So what is the important parameter? All these parameters you will be plotting on the y-axis. defect rate, this much, this much, this much, this much, keeps on reducing. After some point of time, it will flatten. Make sense, Yuvraj?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So my understanding is in common
who is
across.
speaking?
This is
Name is
Srinivasan.
not coming.
Yes. So the other areas, the time is money. So the more learning curve that we have, we could play around the cost.
In
But
fact,
from
just for the sake of argument, IT industry generally this time.
Yeah.
For the implementation, but for manufacturing, it is a defect.
Okay. So the lesser the defect, their
cost savings will be there.
Okay.
So
Got it.
You can
Understood. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Karthik.
Actually, I had a query. So if in case now the product one, we had considered this calculation. There is another upgradation of the product. So this price won't reduce, no, sir, to increase that the upgraded product. So
it means learning curve will be applicable when you are doing the same thing, right? This is what when there is an upgradation, then you have to change the learning rate itself, right? And that will become the benchmark.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Parag.
Yeah, right. So there will be a saturation in the learning curve in over a period of time.
After a long period of time. After a long period of time. But that saturation may be very less in terms of the values. But if you multiply by the total volume, right, the price will be very, very high, even though 4 or 5 digits after point will also make a good difference.
Right.
Right? This is
the volume will be the game.
Volume will be the game. Always. That means we should have 10 digit of learning rate improvement also. Are you able to say this, Parag ji? In this kind of business? And ab dekho, aap khud socho. Suppose learning rate is there and our people, by the way, in this kind of business, there is a lot of thing known as sidekick. Have you heard about this word? Sidekick? Right? Sidekick is something. This is the difference between the learning rate which is perceived by the buyer versus the actual learning rate. Right? If there is a difference between these two, the difference of money is the sidekick between that. Are you able to see this? And whosoever will negotiate, let's say real learning rate was something more or less, right? The person has agreed for something more or less. The difference is the profit which we can share with each other. Right? So have you heard about this? For every purchase, people go to the court in India for any defense purchase. Are you able to see this? So this is the game, right? But then nowadays, people have also got into some kind of contracts where people are talking about this government to government. Government to government will mean that president to prime minister to president, president to president. Then it is difficult to take the sidekicks, right? Are you able to see this also? This has happened in India also. Right or wrong, but this is the way it is. Are you able to see this? Now, if you are having government to government contract, generally people avoid these kind of mischiefs in between. So I'll also show you with example, then you will understand this further. Right, Karthik bhai, Sachin ji, you have a question?
Yes, Rohit. So eventually I can say this performance improvement is in terms of IT when I'm comparing with IT. So it's a velocity, right?
Yeah.
It's generally we increase the velocity in every sprints or every life cycle. So it is kind of
right. So this is some people can adapt. Mental map is something like this. I'm okay with this. But if you understand the concept, then any terminology you use, it's okay. I'm okay. Right now, iPhone. Who is the iPhone by?
Sorry, sir. That's me. Actually,
it's okay.
Sorry, sir. Just I might have missed out. Probably you touched upon the factors that are limiting the learning curve, like staff turnover and all. Probably I missed out.
So basically, those are the kind of things. So what happens is, if you have the real data, let's say, real data would have captured staff layout and all. Turnout and all those kind of things. Turnover.
Correct.
Right. What will happen is we will be getting approximate learning rate, and I will show you that also with the data.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Whatever we have developed. Right. So first is, so in what sense we should proceed generally in real life also. First, people have the real data. T1, T2, T3, T4, whatever improvement parameter you want to, T5 like this. Over this, they fit a learning rate. right?
Okay.
Are you able to see this? So learning rate exactly same, kind of continuous curve is not there. Sometimes data will be little up, data will be little down, right? So that is possible. That is a close approximation towards the data. Once you fix this learning rate, then all pricing of the succeeding products you will do is according to
Okay.
or
So
cost. Price
yeah.
is something which will be inflated by the profit also, right?
Correct.
So cost, etc., you can forecast it very, very nicely.
Correct. So just out of curiosity, because I'm not from the manufacturing background, I would like to know that because when the team is actually evaluating this speed, for example, 80% in your case, is there, I mean, any particular process, like they are monitoring some set of people, how they are performing? How does it happen? Just out of curiosity.
So what happens is, for example, you have some kind of delivery, right? So delivery, development, testing, all those kind of processes within that, right?
Okay.
So what will happen is they will be taking either the one aspect of the complete system or let's say total also, so that plus minus of everything would have happened. So input is this, output is this. So for the first kind of development, from concept to the final execution, right? How much time you have taken. Then similarly, how much time you have taken. You can do it as a sample also, right? A certain kind of groups, right? What has happened? Or you can, because sample is also good because these are similar kind of people who are working in different projects, right? Or different kind of IT, kind of projects. So this is the kind of thing. So you can do it like this, but then you require number of these things in repeated form, right? Maintain that data and estimate the learning rate over that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's right. Balakumarji? Your voice is not coming. It is still not coming. You just check your connection. Deepak, you have a question? No, voice is not coming. Deepak, you have a question?
So is it like, do we are considering cost escalations in the learning curve?
Yeah. So cost, time, whatever you can convert it into cost. For example, defect rate improvement. Are you watching this?
Because
you can also convert this in terms of the cost.
Because suppose there is some cost escalation due to the inventory. Okay.
Yeah.
And do we are considering this cost escalation?
Inventory is so reduction in inventory.
Okay. We mean to say yes.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Balakumarji, just try in case you are there. Otherwise, so let's take a break, right, of 45 minutes, and then we'll proceed to the further things in the case and learning rate also. Right? Make sense? So in the meanwhile, Balakumarji, just test your particular thing, right? So that everybody should be on the same page. So let's meet at 10:45. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sure.
Right. So don't leave anywhere. We will be still having the last question.
Rohitji, convene at 11:45, right? 10:45, right?
10:45, 11:45 कैसे? 11:45 is the end.
समझा सर, इसके लिए correct किया.
Right. अच्छा, I said 11:45.
नहीं जी, मैं बोला 10:45. I corrected myself. चलिए, ठीक है.
That's all.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you.
And we'll be starting from where we ended the session, and I will give you two kinds of things. One is to how to calculate learning rate also, give the data points, and after having the learning rate, how to calculate further things, right? So that is the kind of thing. So let me start from where I ended the last session, all right? So this is the kind of thing. So let me share my PPTs, friend, and whatever questions, suppose I am unable to answer you at that point of time, right? You write down in your copy so that you will never forget. Okay. And then in the end, I will also share my number, my email ID, and all those kind of things also. If given a session, we will not be able to complete that, you can ask me this thing and then we'll go ahead with that, right? So one-to-one kind of thing is also there. So let me start with this. So you can see my slide. You remember we went by this and we said, this is the equation, whatever I have got, right? So this is the equation. Now I'll tell you how to calculate the learning rate itself from this equation, whatever we have developed. It's a kind of model, right? It's a very logical way of explaining some of them. You don't get perturbed by the equations, you know, kind of symbols which look very dangerous, log and all those kind of things. It's very simple thing, right? That is the kind of thing. But you understand the managerial meaning of this. So let's understand this further. We can replace this log. You remember when you have log of, let's say, two numbers, x divided by y, based on property log of x minus log of y, right? So for division, it is subtraction, right? So this is the kind of thing. So what we should write down, we will be saying log of Tn minus log of T1, which is okay. In fact, this should be equal to log of n multiplied by log of LR and then divided by log of 2, right? You are with me. I have just done the same thing. Will be further smart. Log of Tn minus log of T1, right? Divided by log of n. I have just replaced this and then brought it in the denominator of the left hand side. We can also say this is nothing but you know, log of minus 0, right? So we can say that log of 1, right? So you remember log of 1 is
0,
right? So we can do this thing very clearly. And this is nothing but log of LR divided by log of 2, right? As simple as that. So you know when the bases are same, here base is same, base is same. So we can also replace this by log of LR to the base 2, right? We can say this also very, very clearly. Now we have an expression, something like this. So take the, you know, picture of this and then we'll use it in real data also, what has happened. Right? You have taken the picture. Same thing we have written in a different form. Right? Picture has been taken. Somebody should confirm. Yeah. Right? Picture you have taken. Right?
Yes,
so let's go to the Excel. Right? So what we are saying is, sorry. So let's be in the PPT itself and then try to develop the logic also for this. So we said this is what is true. So in practice, LR is unknown, approximation with real data. This is what we are going to do. So data from the real world on one of the context of photovoltaic cells, right? Development of photovoltaic cells. I've got this data from Bloomberg and all that. So let's say this is the situation. So for the so many years from 2004, from 1976 to 2004, we have megawatts as an output and cost you kept on decreasing, right? So as we kept on increasing the megawatts, are you able to say this? And then cost keeps on decreasing per unit, right? So dollar per megawatt, right? So as you can see very clearly, if this is the data which I have got, right? How to approximate a learning rate for this, right? So in case you would like to observe clearly the cost per watt is decreasing, right? Aditya bhai, right? This is the kind of thing, same kind of thing. We are maintaining the data. But at what learning rate is the question? How, right? That is the next thing. We will calculate the left hand side and right hand side and then do everything, right? So just remember this was the equation which we have kept it like this, right? So I will take you to the Excel and will show you how to calculate. Very simple procedure we will do. So you remember we have this data. So I have already put this data in the Excel sheet, right? This is the kind of thing. Now what is the output? Output is measured in terms of the cost. What is the input? In terms of how much you have produced, number of replications and whatever you want to say. Now, if you are clear about this, friends, let's use the particular thing. So what was our expression? Log of whatever is the output. You remember time was the output there, right? Time.
Yeah.
So
Minus.
here, right? So here cost is the output, right? So this is the kind of thing. So what we will be putting this is log, right, of bracket mein log of Cn, right? This is the kind of thing, or I will put it like this, log of C1. So C1 is this 97.28, Cn is 3.89, right? So this is the kind of thing. We will do this also calculation divided by log of n minus log of 1. This is what we are saying. What is n? N is this thing, and 1 is the 1.88, right? So that is the kind of logic here, right? So let's do it. What will happen here? So what I'll do is log, or let's say ln, log base, any base, right? So natural logarithm is ln. This divided by, so this is for this, minus ln of first one. This is what it is, and I want this to be in the numerator, so I am putting this here, then divided by, we have another one divided by ln of input is this, minus ln of the first one, which is 1 point, and this is what is the slope, that is the left hand side. So minus 4 point, this thing, slope decreasing, right? So that's why it will be in negative. Now you remember right hand side, log base 2 of LR, right? This was the right hand side. Logic will be very simple. This value is minus 0.43362 is equal to log base 2 of LR. How do I write? 2 to the power minus 43362 divide equal to LR. Understood? Right? So this is the kind of thing. So what we should do? Learning rate. How to calculate learning rate? My learning rate should be 2 to the power this one. How much is the learning rate? Approximate learning rate? 74%. How much is the improvement? 26%. Aditya ji, Adinath ji, make sense? Their names are coming first.
Yes, yes. As actually we are calculating learning rates
from the data.
Cost must be input, not the output, no?
Because cost will keep decreasing. Cost will keep on decreasing as your experience is increasing. Make sense?
Okay.
Cost is the output, right?
Okay.
And that's why it was decreasing. Right? Make sense?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Right. So this was the output, and this was its name is cumulative output. Cumulative output is the production which you are doing. Are you with this? So don't get confused with the words. Make sense?
Sorry sir, one thing. Sir, this 26% is the overall improvement.
Overall,
okay.
Approximate improvement.
Correct.
From the data. Yeah. But then if you make it at 74% point something, you know, curve will be like this, but some of the points will be little bit up, little bit down also, individual points. Right? Make sense? Yeah. Balakumar ji.
My question is like the more the learning rate, the improvement rate also should increase, right? I mean, in the
this is the question which you are asking, right? Yeah. So let me explain you. Let's say there are buyers and there are sellers, right? So I'm giving you two values. One is 0.9 learning rate. Another is 0.7 learning rate, right? As a seller, you will choose for negotiation 0.9 or 0.7.
0.9.
As a seller, you will be saying, sir, improvement is only 10%. But as a buyer, I will like to choose 0.7. And I will say, no, not 10%. Your improvement is 30%. Right, Balakumarji?
Yeah.
Makes sense? So value-wise learning rate, right? Seller will choose higher. Right? And basically what he's saying is he wants to keep this value close to 1. That means there is no improvement. Are you with this? But for buyer, he wants to use as lower as learning rate as possible, lower value of learning rate. So that improvement is very, very
higher.
Make sense? Now, suppose real learning rate was 0.9, which is calculated by seller. Oh, sorry. Let's say I have taken a wrong example. Let's say this was 0.9, which we started. Let's say real learning rate was 0.7. That means 30% improvement. And I have convinced a buyer to take learning rate as 0.8. This 10% is the buffer, which is nothing but converted into my corpus or profit. Make sense?
So, which means there are room for improvement down the line, so it has not been.
But I will not, as a seller, I don't want to tell that exact value to the buyer. Are you able to say this?
So this is the buffer estimate of the coverage.
One second, Manish, हाथ खड़ा करो, उसके बाद बोलो. Balaji?
Yeah. No, in which case, so this gives some confidence to the buyer that there is still room for improvement in the product. So there is a 30%.
Yeah.
That is what it's for. And coming to the earlier example of 0.9, which means the product has almost reached saturation and there will be no further.
No, not at all. You have got at the starting value of 0.9 learning rate. Learning rate will remain same for all the units. But because of this learning rate, what happens is because of logarithmic scale, the improvement over the previous one will keep on reducing. That is what it is. But learning rate will remain 0.9 only. Learning rate will not change. Are you able to see this?
Yeah.
So what is the example here? Learning rate will be across all approximated by 74%. That means 26% improvement. That is what we are saying. So there is some learning rate value. In this case, what is the improvement? 0.1. It is like complementary angle and supplementary angle. Are you able to see this? Right? So this is the way we express the same thing. So let me tell you, learning rate 0.8. What is the improvement? 0.8. Right? That is what we have explained. So now you know you will be having some learning rate based on the data, but you have to maintain this data. Are you able to say this? That's why you will be approximately having the learning rate. But now, if you are clear about this, yeah, Manish, you have a question?
Thank you.
Sir, I am saying that 10% buffer is only for the, you say, risk, avoiding risk, or basically taking the consideration of any uncertainties. Like,
I have maintained the data, and based on this data, as a seller or production person, what has happened is I have maintained the data and I have approximated that instead of 74%, now my value is coming 0.9.
Okay.
Manishji, right?
Yeah,
this 0.9, 0.74 is from the real data like this. What is the output? What is the input? Though in this case, I have written this as an output, but this is nothing but the number of units of production. Are you able to see this?
Yeah.
That's the name is output, but don't get confused with output. Output is cost.
Yeah.
Right?
The final result is cost.
Right. This is the kind of thing, because one person has got the confusion there also. So that's why I just clarified. It is just nothing but it is this, right? Sanjay ji, you have a question?
Basically, what we are saying from learning rate, the higher the learning, lower the learning rate,
value.
Cost will be more.
Lower the learning rate value.
Yes.
Let's say
value.
it is 0.6, just for the sake of argument. 0.6. That means, what are we saying? 40% improvement.
So cost of the production will be more, right?
Cost of the production will become lesser and lesser. Every time it will be improved by 40%.
Yeah, cost. But the profit part will be more and more, right?
Yes. No. What will happen is, so every time Profit part is the difference between the perception of learning rate of buyer versus actual learning rate of the producer. Are you understanding this? That will create the profit for you.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you may perceive as a buyer some other learning rate, but real learning rate is, right, 0.6.
Yes.
You may settle at 0.8. So this difference of 0.6 and 0.8 is the profit of the seller. Make sense?
Yes. Got it.
Yeah, Sanjay ji.
Yeah. Done.
You are the same person, Vivas?
Yes, sir. Just one understanding that lower the learning rate will be
learning rate value. Learning
value. Yeah.
Right.
So
let's say
it will
0.7 just for the sake.
Yeah. So more and more improvement will be there. Let us say 0.5. So my 0.5 will be the improvement.
50%.
So impact
50% is the improvement.
Yeah.
So
50%.
always say whenever you say learning rate, 1 minus of that is the improvement. Yeah.
Yeah. My question is that it will impact on the operational cost also.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
As the output. Yeah, I agree. Now, let me tell you from the start, 2 examples we'll solve. One is price negotiation also example, but let's start from the basics. So we have got this particular expression. We have done it also, and let's see this. So we have done this data from the real world, and we said in this kind of thing, 74% was my learning rate. That means 26% is my improvement. Calculate the slope of, is it 2 to the power, is that kind of thing. Estimate the learning from the table also and all that. Now let's solve one problem. The first plane in the category of Boeing 767 takes 1 million hours of direct labor input. First, let's say for the sake of argument, 95% learning curve applies inside the company. The average direct labor hours per plane needed if 3 units are produced, 5 units are produced, 7 units are produced, 31 units are produced. Are you able to say this? Very, very simple. What is the average direct labors? The last column, which we calculated for a specific example of 80%. Right? Understood? Right? So in this case, what you will do, you have the expression, very, very simple expression, or the table itself, which I have generated. So log, or let's say table itself, I'll show you from both the sides. So log, whatever we have, and base, let's say we are keeping the same base. So log 10 of Tn divided by T1 is equal to log 10 of n divided by log 10 of 2 multiplied by log 10 of LR. What is the LR value? 0.95, right? So we can calculate this, and I'll show you also. This is the same. And then we also want to calculate actual direct labor hours needed to manufacture 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 31st, right? That kind of thing. So if we know this, we can calculate very simply. So case of 3 units, I'll show you for 1, you can calculate for 5th, 7th, 31st also, right? That is what it is. Calculation of first part, that is average direct labor hours, which is the last column. I did the same thing, right? So this is the kind of thing. So you remember, right? I have calculated exactly the same. By the way, what is this 0.301? It is nothing but log 10 of 2, right? So this is the kind of thing from what I remember at least, right? So this is the kind of thing I calculated. 10 to the power is 0.9219. That means average labor hours for 3rd unit is 0.921, because for the first it is 1 million hours, right? Balakumarji, makes sense, right? It's a very simple calculation, right? This is what it is. Now, actual direct labor hours, again, I will show you for the 3rd unit. You remember, how do we used to calculate the particular things? We used to calculate first average in the last column, and then multiplied by number of units, right? We used to get cumulative, and then we calculated the previous cumulative also, and then subtract both of them to get the unit for this thing, exact number of hours, right? You remember, we calculated this. Again, I show you. We calculated n, 1, 2, 3, 4. We said actual direct labor hours. We said cumulative direct labor hours. We said average direct labor hours. So we said for the first unit, it was 100. then this will be also 100. This was 100, no problem. For the 2, if we are showing learning is 80%, this will become 80. This will become 160. This will become 60. Right? So last column is based on that particular table which we calculated already based on the calculations, right? This is what it is. For the 3rd, we were not aware, but for the 4th, we were aware it will be 256. This will be, this will be 264. And then this was 256, and we calculated this, and this, right? These are the 4 values we calculated in that sense. So yeah, Kushal, you have a question?
Sir, just had a question about, we are doing the calculation of average direct labor hours.
Now, based on learning rate.
So now instead of 1 million hours, it is 0.9219. So does that mean that the productivity or the efficiency has increased by 8%?
Improved till this point. Till this point. Till this point.
Right.
Till this point,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
But now this is average, which is the last column, right? This is what it is. But we want actual also. So what we will do? We calculate average direct labor hours per unit from above is 0.9219, right? Cumulative hour for 3 units kitna ho jayega? 3 into 0.9219, right? Balakumarji, make sense, right? This will be the thing. Similarly, we can calculate cumulative hour for 2 units will be 0.95 into 2. You remember, one say 2 will be 0.95, right? So this is cumulative. Now for the 3rd unit, if we increase from 1.9 to 2.765, how many number of hours we would have taken? 2.658 minus 1.9. That means for the 3rd unit, actual number of hours are 0.8658, right? Are you able to see this? So that you know exactly the cost also, right? Clear? Sanjay ji, Manish ji, Vibhas ji, Balakumar ji, right? But then the names are coming first, right? I'll give you this PPT also. This is the meaning of whatever we have talked till now, right, Vibhas ji? Right? So it's a very closely connected concepts, but then things
okay.
Now let's do more practical problem. Let's say Rafale has agreed to supply Indian Air Force 10 of its latest planes. Nowadays, as a buyer also, I will be many times, or in this kind of big sales, you also ask the seller, what is your breakup and what kind of profit margins you are asking, right? So it's a very, and these kind of negotiations have this kind of information. So let's say the cost breakup which is given by Rafale to India is material is this much, labor is this much, overhead is this much in terms of billions of rupees, right? This is the situation. Rafale policy is also of 15% markup cost. So what will be the total cost? I will add all of these. What will be the total sum of these? 0.75. 0.75 is 1 billion, right? So this is a kind of thing, right? And over this 15% also, so what is the price of the plane per plane? It is 1.15 billion. This is the initial price which Rafale will give it to me, right? This is the kind of thing. And he will give me this cost breakups also. Indian Air Force has already, let's say, paid for first 5 planes, right? Then assuming that like you in one of the MDP program or executive education program, now we get a lot of participants from Indian Army and Defense Forces also, right? Because now they are trying to also modernize themselves in terms of, because otherwise they are thinking only in one direction, but at the end of the day, it's an organization. It has to be managed according to the management principle. So let's say like you, one of the participant or one of the group of people, they discovered later on that there is a learning effect concept. 5 planes have been already delivered and you have paid extra. Are you able to see this? Clear? Sanjay bhai, makes sense, right? Manish Chandra ji, right? Can you advise Indian Air Force on the future payment of 5 planes, right? So first step is you will be negotiating on the learning rate value, right? Rafale will be giving you, sir, there is no improvement, right? And you want that the improvement is very, very high, right? So this is what it is. And then I'll go back as a Indian Air Force negotiator. I'll be saying, no, there is a learning curve effect, right? So this is learning experience, learning rate concept. Now I want, what should be the future payment for these extra 5 planes or remaining 5 planes? This is what I'm interested in. Now how to go about it, right? So for one illustration, at the end of the day, you will be negotiating whatever it is. But let's say, yeah, Jatin ji, you have a question?
Yes, sir. A very generic question is this learning rate will be only applicable because material and overhead may remain the same.
अभी तो रुक जाओ. अभी तो we will be discussing over these 3 categories where you want to apply. Right, Jatin ji?
Yes, sir.
Right. So we will come to that. So first, very rightly you asked. Yeah, Rajat also.
Sir, in labor we can apply that.
We can apply, right? Jatin bhai, अच्छा, material में हो सकता है क्या? हो तो सकता है, right? Material में because of wastage, because of losses and all those kind of things.
Yes, sir.
Labor में भी हो सकता है, labor में obvious है. Overheads में it will be tough to negotiate, right? So that kind of thing. So just for the sake of argument, and by the way, you can have different learning rate for material, different learning rate for labor, different learning rate for overheads also, right? Clear, friends? Everybody is with me. Now, having said this, let's go about it. So how will I go about it? First, I will calculate average labor hours per unit based on one learning rate, which we have negotiated. For the sake of argument, let's say we have assumed 95%. Let's say we agreed on 95%, though actually they may have higher learning rate also, right? Or lower learning rate also, whatever you want to say. But let's say I will show you calculation on one of the things. Template will remain same. Yeah. Dalganjan ji?
Yeah, so just want to know, as you were saying earlier, the seller always want the learning rate to be as higher as possible.
Near one.
Yeah.
Actually, he wants one.
Near one. Yeah,
he said that no improvement happens. Right.
Correct. But in case like, because we are over here talking as a buyer, so we will be actually making sure that, or we will be trying to have the learning rate
improvement, or let's say easier way to describe is 1 minus learning rate, improvement to be as high as possible.
As possible. Yeah. Just right. Okay, just want to clarify on that.
Right. So basically, just remember learning rate, 1 minus of learning rate, what you are saying is improvement. Right? So that is the kind of thing. So अब क्या करेंगे? मान लो, for the sake of argument, we agreed on 0.95. Let's say बहुत negotiation करने के बाद, so I'll show you the calculation on one of the specific case. Template will remain same. You negotiate on other learning rate values, right? Template will remain same. So what should I do as a step-by-step measure? I will go towards my sheet, and you remember we calculated the learning rate. Right? So what you will do, average. So now this will be 10, right? So which value we should say? Right? 0.84334, right? So this is the kind of thing, right? Clear? Everybody is with me on this, right? This is the average direct labor hours of when you are having 10, right? And of course, you will be also talking about that whatever planes they are giving to us, there is always a kind of customization which you do in this kind of circumstances. What happens is you will not give the same plain and vanilla kind of plane to everybody, right? Are you able to see this? You will be also having a lot of negotiation on the customization because our strategic requirements are different from somebody else. In fact, this was a great debate which has happened in the parliament when opposition parties were also asking about what are the specifications, exact specifications of the plane, because there was a kind of thing that specifications have been changed. But this is a secret. This is a kind of secret. If you tell it in open, right, enemies will also be able to understand what kind of armament you are having in the plane. In fact, the case went to the Supreme Court also. Are you able to say this? Supreme Court, at the end of the day, you might remember, they have called all the specifications in sealed cover. But after some point of time, I think judges might have understood this is not their cup of tea, and they said very clearly, we are not the final decision maker. This is the defense people who will make the final call on what kind of specific requirements are there, right? So they said that everything is, so they said that roughly it's like, they tried to get inside the fire, but after seeing the burn, they came out, right? So that is the kind of thing, right? Because at the end of the day, how they can, judges can decide what is good for India or not, right? So they understood, but they asked for these kind of things, and everybody specific, and there are contracts also that you will not reveal the secret of what we purchase versus somebody else will purchase, right? So that you will be having those kind of things. So this is the kind of situation we are in. Now, having said this, let's go one by one what I did. Average labor hours per unit, friends, it will reduce from 1 to 0.8433. You are with me, right? Sanjay bhai, Jatin bhai, Rajat ji, right? Dalganjan ji, make sense? Yeah. So this is what is the situation. Labor cost for 10 units, what it will happen is, you remember labor cost for the first any of the plane which you assumed was 0.2, but we are showing some improvement over that. But as of now, we have said labor cost cumulatively it should be 10 into 0.843, and then the first one is this 1.687. But for the first 5 planes, you have been charged 0.2 billion per unit. This is what it is. So that means you have paid how much already? 1 billion. But technically, you should have purchased for 10 planes this much. That means what is the overpayment which you did? You did 0.687, right? So this is the kind of thing. And if you have overpaid this much per plane basis, it will become this much, right? Clear? Everybody should be with me, right? It's a very simple calculation I did. And after this, instead of 0.2, now I will put 0.13734 in their list. So for the second plane, you remember material 0.55 will remain same, overhead remains same, labor instead of 0.2, now I have put 0.13734, and further I will add all of these and then multiply it by 1.15, and what is the value which I am getting? 1.078. That means for the second lot of 5 planes, how much you should pay? 1.078 multiplied by 5.39 billion. Is this example clear?
Sir, can you please go to the previous slide?
Yes, sir, please. I think you need to repeat it.
Yeah, thank you.
Make sense? Clear, madam?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Right? Or you take the picture also. That is also okay, right? Because in the class, physical classes, you do by chalk, so that it goes very basic. So I'm going slowly, but this is the kind of thing. Yeah, Lavilesh?
Sir, as the learning rate of all these things like labor, overhead, and material will be different. So calculation for all these need to be calculated in
different. So then template will remain same, right? Are you able to see this? Template will remain.
The template will remain, or we can average out that labor.
But my request is do differently for different.
Okay.
Are you able to see this? So don't average it out, right? Average is not the real, right? Now you have done the calculation on 0.95. Right? You settled for 0.95 as India has settled for 0.95, let's say. But actual value was not only 5% improvement, actual value was 25% improvement. Actual learning rate, as far as labor is concerned, by RFL is 0.75. So this difference will go in whose kitty?
This will go in RFL's kitty.
RFL's kitty.
Seller's kitty.
Right? And let's say, if this difference many times during Bofors and all those kind of things, you might have heard about this. This is the kickback kind of thing. This generates the situation for kickbacks. In fact, the case also mentions, right, in these kind of purchases, kickbacks. Kickbacks are because there is a difference of perception of learning rate between user and buyer. Make sense? This is what we are saying. Right? Srinivas?
Sir, probably this question might not be applicable here.
No, that's okay.
But okay, so let's assume I'm negotiating with the vendor, vendor or a service provider. So let's say I am I'm the buyer here in this situation.
Yeah.
Seller. So how do I know what is the learning rate is? Because when it comes to me, I would give him the timeline, and this is my budget. So that is what we would negotiate. But what is his?
Actually, in these kind of things, if you think very clearly, we are assuming that there is a lot of asymmetry between the buyer and the seller. Are you able to see this? This is the question. You have, I think, originated from that kind of logic. But many of the businesses, situation is not that. India also knows. You remember, in this kind of situations, many of these situations, there are certain norms which are already available. This is what is the market. In fact, in this kind of situation, many times the buyer also have the similar experiences in their own maintenance and operational aspects. Right, Srinivas? Right? So it is not as asymmetric as possible.
But
very rarely it will be as, if it is very asymmetric, let's say, it is very, very asymmetric, then as a buyer, I don't have much choice.
Because what I want to understand is how do we calculate, what is the learning curve in the beginning itself?
No. In the beginning, only seller can calculate. Nobody else. Because real data is with the seller.
Yeah, but at this point...
How to calculate that? Okay. Calculation, I have already told you. 2 to the power b is equal to
log.
You remember log wala?
Yeah.
When you maintain the data, right? So you can approximate a learning rate for that. You remember we calculated 74%?
Yeah, but the data is
with the seller only.
I understand, but okay.
How do seller or
have
buyer
the data
come to a negotiation, right? I tell you other features also, then you understand.
Okay, all right.
Many times what happens is even seller wants to sell their planes. And it is but naturally in any business. You don't want that any of the potential big buyer go away. This is the negotiation strength. Even, buyer also brings on the table. Are you able to see this? So people will negotiate very, very hard on this. And then you can't say that you have a very monopolistic situation. Take care. You are not giving, I will go to somebody else. And then what will happen to the seller? He has lost the opportunity in such a big ticket. Right, Srinivas?
Yep.
So I would like to pass on because I want that continuity of the business also. I would like to pass on. Why not? At the end of the day, what is my main objective? Main objective is not to squeeze the buyer. Main objective is to maintain the business over a longer period of time. And that is the right way of doing the business according to the decisions. Jilji?
Yes, sir. So like for this product, we have the 3 categories and on 3 categories, we can have a different learning rate. How should we decide that which category will have the power, means more impact on the...
Which is obvious. If you see in this case also, right, even if you have nth variety, nth items also, right, or 4th category, 5th category, there are some categories where it is but logical. See, we are also in the business now. We are purchasing the planes and all those kind of things, right? So it is not as this particular thing. Labor, definitely yes, more easy to negotiate. Material, less. Overheads, very, very difficult to negotiate many times.
So can we say that during the negotiation, we actually discuss on all the items?
I want all. I will start as a negotiator, right? I'm a great buyer. I am saying I'll purchase 50 of your products, right? At this particular thing. Now there is an incentive for even the seller to give you discounts. These discounts are nothing but this learning rate only, right?
Okay.
Right? This is what it is. And it is very, you require a little bit of maturity. If you think about this business, you want buyers to purchase your product. Because if one single buyer will purchase your product, the viability of your product will become very, very high.
Okay.
You don't want buyer to go away. You want, I told you, They want the acceptability of their plans only.
Yeah.
They will do everything under the sun, right, to retain the buyer.
Yeah.
Then they also want to maintain some profit margin.
So do seller will keep it as a history data also for the learning rate for it?
Yeah. He will be maintaining all those kind of things, right, as a data. Data is very, very important for us.
Yeah. Okay.
Very, very important. Because at the end of the day, we are talking about billions and trillions of businesses.
Okay.
Right? And all these data, more closely we are to the reality of the God, better it is. You understand that, Jilji?
Yes. Thank you, sir.
And that's why many times, even in point difference, if you see the value, you will say improvement over the second one is not so high at the later stages. But then, because the volume of the business is very high, even those points also makes a difference. Right, Sanjay?
Sir, I understood this whole concept of the learning curve are like industry standard, like it can be used in different industry also, right?
I tell you, whenever you have customization, right, you have created a situation for learning.
Okay.
Otherwise, your marketing and sales people, if they are talking about customization, that is a fraud. Either you are not doing the customization then, right? Yeah.
So it can be used in IT industry also, right?
Of course. Yeah, IT industry में आप लोग same ही fees charge करते हो ना, but implementation even से, right, Sanjay जी?
Yeah.
अब ज़्यादा तो अभी नहीं बोलेंगे हम, right? Are you with this? Let me not reveal all the secrets of everybody, but this is what it is. How much hourly charge you charge, right? Hourly rate in off-site or on-site, let's say, you are charging something, right?
Right.
Even for execution also you are charging, right? But actually your real cost will be lesser than that, which is why you are sustaining yourself.
Right. Yes, you got it.
Right, Polish?
Just to mention, sir, that learning rate will be effective if you better know the scope and you have expertise on that. Then you can take benefit.
Yeah.
Because the example you have quoted about just IT industry, just to quote a few examples. Yes, I was working on a project related to HTMLization. There was high learning rate, but the cost is coming say is almost equivalent. And hours they are charging same hours, but learning experience is higher because they have already done this work.
So that means they have made a mullah out of you.
So we need to expert in this itself,
Of course.
because
I tell you how that there are agencies,
right,
which will be also hired to do the negotiation on your behalf, and those agencies will have all the experts from this industry. And whatever they are able to achieve for you as a buyer, right, they will be charging the fees accordingly.
Right. This happens as we get experience. Of course, we are enabled. Even buyers are enabled with learning rates, that style.
Of course.
Learning.
And I tell you, many times people feel buyers are monopolistic, right? Which is okay, but buyers also know we have to sell something. We can't have a situation that we are just, making buyer run away to somebody else.
Absolutely.
We'll be giving something to him, no? It's a very competitive market. Only 4 or 5 buyers are, 4 or 5 sellers are there in the world. Of course, by theory, it is a monopolistic situation, but the volume of business is very, very huge.
Very, very huge. Big.
And I don't want to lose a big ticket. In fact, and this is also true, you can read the newspaper at that point of time. Trump called Prime Minister. Putin will also call Prime Minister. See why you have selected. And India is a very smart nation. India will purchase everything from everybody. Right? Oh, sorry, something with everybody.
Something with everybody. All markets.
Right? You have seen, they totally maintain the geopolitical situation. You remember? France.
Right.
They purchased from US. US, when they got angry, they said, "Okay, sir, whatever you can sell, tell us some of the options." They said, "Okay, can you purchase this kind of stain guns and all those kind of things?" India purchased that. India purchased some helicopters also. And why India is able to purchase? Because Indian economy is very, very cash rich. And all these, and why it is cash rich? Because of our middle class. 30% tax. Right? If you want more, some cess. Right?
And if you want more, some more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Are you able to say this? आपने देखा in the pandemic, Putin came. How many countries he has gone? Right? He has come to India recently. In January he came. January 6th or something. You remember? Right? He came.
Yeah,
Why
he
is
came
coming?
for few
Because
hours.
they don't have cash. And India is having a lot of cash.
Still
Even
good at
French defense minister also came. Right? And said, we will, in future requirement also, you know why these people, these kind of companies also have a very tight network with your defense establishments also in the defense corridors also.
Absolutely.
For your next 10 years, what is your requirement? They will be always having this business intelligence so that they can develop the product according to your need.
Yes.
That is what is the kind of business. And there are agencies also. That's why many times it may go into gray area also. I'm not denying this fact.
Always.
Because the level of money is very, very huge. Very, very huge. And these are the projects which we should be talking about. Because if you are clear about these projects, all other projects will be the easier versions of these. Understood?
Absolutely, sir.
Right. Yeah. So, Parag ji, you have a question?
Yes. Can we apply this to the service industry where the product is intangible kind of thing?
Yeah, service industry, IT industry, service industry. But you have to be very specific.
Yeah, this product might be like a web-based service or technical based services.
So basically development, testing, all those kind of things.
Right. So man hours basically.
Yeah, man hours. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
सैलरी दे रहे हैं ना भाई लोगों को, चार्ज कर रहे हैं पर आवर बेसिस पे क्लाइंट को.
Correct. So I just earlier also the person has asked, so it was in the same context.
Right. Yeah, Kushal.
Yeah, sir. So basically, I just had this point to connect the dots. Sir, in the Boeing case study, we saw that during the production of 767, the learning curves which they had from 727 and 747, it was kind of like they did not want much of disruption in the whole setup of 767. Otherwise, the learning curve learnings could not be. They have to they had to start from the scratch, right? So just wanted to know that India had a learning rate of 0.95, wherein they had never gone for Rafale, and the seller had the learning rate of 0.75. Was this delta of 0.2 the reason because the Indian people were not having that earlier database of Rafale and the learnings from it?
No.
No.
I'm not saying that India has gone for 0.95. I don't have that data. This is only for the specific template. Suppose it would have been 0.95, what will be the real calculations?
Oh, I see.
Right.
Okay.
I'm not saying that India has gone for 0.9. Nobody knows, actually. It is known between the government to government.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. That's
right.
And nowadays, even contracts of such kind, generally, when initial process was you call all the vendors, they will be coming and then they will be negotiating with your own people, and then there is a lot of chance of getting into gray area. Now, current government might have done it smartly. They have done government to government contract. So real contract, the guarantor is French government of this. And if there's a government to government, it becomes very, very difficult anybody, right, to get the sidekick easily.
Oh, okay.
How do you say this? Because, it is very difficult for anybody at the top level to tell to the other head that you give me the sidekick. It is very, very difficult. Are you say this? So
yes,
it is more on the merits in that sense. Yeah. Yeah, Srinivas, you have a question? Deepak?
Srinivas here. Please don't take it wrong. I understand the concept, but I'm just trying to understand the base of the concept. Let me have three different examples. Okay, person number one, he has already, let's for example, purchasing planes, he have already done it, right? So he already has an experience on this particular platform. And person number two, he's new to this platform. He has no idea what to do, when to, at least the with respect to project management, he knows, but on this aspect, he has no idea. He's completely new for them. And third is, there is a product that is completely new to the market. Nobody has any idea. In this scenario, let me take virtual reality as an example, because you will not see much of virtual reality implementation, that technology anywhere. Very rarely
so
used.
I'll answer. I understood. Right. First case, easy. Second case, you can hire the agencies.
Okay. Okay. What about the third case? Because it's
third case is very specific case that only one product is there and your need is very, very high. But then again, I will apply the same logic. You also want your product to be used.
Okay.
You don't want to lose the buyer.
That is fine until unless he gives me.
Then this particular difference of real versus what you negotiate on will be very high.
That is a fact. That is a fact. Yes.
That's it. That's it.
But
I'm with you.
But how? I mean, how do we? I mean, in the first one, who has already has an experience on that,
so
definitely he'll have data.
In negotiation, the thing is, you understand from the psyche of both, right? Values will come later on, right?
Yeah, correct.
So what I will do is, my need is there that I want to use virtual reality kind of product or services, just for the sake of argument.
Yep.
Now there is only one person, right? One person also knows, right? The overall seller also knows that if my product is successfully implemented in this kind of system, I will be having future business, right? Otherwise, what happens is you also incentivize people. You purchase now, sir, right? But the person will say, sir, your cost is very, very high.
Sir, did we lose you?
Right.
Okay.
Then he will be also, right? I will be doing that. For example, let's say Dubai. Dubai wants to convert all the things.
Sir, I think we lost you for a couple of seconds.
I don't know. What else? Let's say because the internet connection was problem.
Yeah.
So let's understand Dubai. Dubai wants to have virtual reality. Kind of thing. They are going in that kind of fashion. They also know there are very few sellers of this kind of technology. Let's say only one.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But that company also wants their product should be showcased as a success.
Okay.
So what they will be telling you is, okay, sir, you purchase from my side, right? But on the other side, people say that you are not giving me any discount, and I am also the first person, right? So on this negotiation, you will definitely pass on some benefit of your learning rate to him. You would like to have this particular thing because you know if that will be successful there, because many people are not even aware of the concept, right? If this will be successful, future business is assured, and I will recover from there.
Yeah, but how do we have that learning rate data?
Value, देखो value आपको नहीं मिलेगी. Exact value you will get only in the first case which you said.
Okay, okay, that actually makes
that is the kind of, that's why you have the word known as negotiation. If you know everything, there is no point of negotiation. No, negotiation will happen only in the asymmetric information cases.
But we do the negotiation on even before starting the project, right? So if my understanding is right, we'll have this learning curve, all this math to be dealt with while signing the contract with the vendor.
But sometimes what happens is the revelation can come at the end of the day also. So there is always a clause. In case new realities are being discussed, right? People definitely go back to the table again.
Okay.
It is not written on the stone wall.
Okay, so we negotiate after the first cut off.
Also,
service.
Yes, we can. In fact, in many of the clauses, they write also.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Somebody else. Yeah.
Yes. Sir, can you please share this PPT after this lecture?
Of course, we'll share.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Rohit sir.
This is an irrelevant question, actually.
Right. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Rohit sir, this is Deepak.
Yeah, Deepak.
This is just, I want to understand from you, as we are seeing this manufacturing industry in China is better competitive to India. So if we want to learn this learning curve comparative to manufacturing industries in China to India. So what lags you will see in materials, in manufacturing processes and labors. So that no, that is okay. Labor we can exclude. Okay. So what you will suggest to compete this manufacturing industry in terms of quality and cost?
So we'll talk a little bit later, right?
Okay.
Because it will be very specific, right?
Okay.
So you write down the question, right? Then right, Dharmendra?
Yeah, hi sir. I have a query, sir. What is the practical application of this concept in real estate?
Real estate? Real estate, you know, you have done a lot of housing construction done.
But problem is that
might have created, right?
Yep. Yeah, sir.
So
But
when you were
problem is
designing
that
all those,
the problem is that the labor is already skilled. He has learned worked in lots of projects, so he has already experienced. And there is his fifth project, and he has a flat curve, almost flat.
So what you are saying is it will be at the end of the this kind of thing.
Yeah, so I want to know what is the real practical application of this concept.
So what I'm saying is you still maintain the data. Are you going to say this? You will be still in the beneficiary zone because your volume of the business may be very high still.
Correct. And as a buyer, I am not sure what kind of skilled labor that the vendor possesses.
But I tell you, in real estate, labor is one, but materials are also one.
Okay.
Material is very, very high.
But we purchase material from some vendors, and they are already manufacturing
usage.
from very long time.
By usage of material.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So let's come back. Some of the questions will be still there, and then you can write down in that because now we have to close the session also. So you remember, the problem is still there, right? So what they are saying is terms of competition, right? So terms of competition, if you want your place to be acceptable, schedule wise, you can't compromise. Cost wise, you can't compromise. Performance. By the way, when I am telling you this, these are also the basic features of the project. You might have seen this triangle also, right? So everything I am developing based on a context, right? And then able to tell you, this is the introductory session to project management. That's why. Then further, if you want to design this product internally, right? And you want to do customization also, what kind of product design should be having? You should be having modular design. Modularity helps you to customize the things very, very fast. Understood? Right? This is what it is. So basically, they are not making different planes. They are only making family of planes. Understood? Sanjay, Gaurav, make sense? Right? So what will happen is, so for example, we also call ourselves that we do a lot of customization in the program. Now what happens there is we have separate modules which are differentiable between different offerings of ours. Are you aware of this? So what happens is this kind of thing helps us to manage the things properly inside Ayurveda. So basically what we are saying is there is a concept about a category of planes, right? Which is of similar kind. Shared learning will be there. Break-even volumes will be also reduced, which we were getting in 5 to 7 years. Are you able to see this? So your selling will become very, very high because you are making it customizable also very, very easily. So because of the volume will increase and then your break-even volume also reduce, right? Make sense? As Ranjanji, Deepakji, make sense?
Sir, can you please explain break-even volume again?
Break-even volume is the volume
for the past,
which will recover all the costs, right? Yeah.
No, for the past session where you explained break-even volumes.
So break-even volume, you understood the concept? What is break-even volume?
No.
So what we are saying is, while making the product, right, you have incurred fixed cost and variable cost, right? On that, you are selling those products also, right? You are generating the price.
Okay.
Are you able to see this?
Yeah.
So whenever your profitability of price selling versus variable cost, right, will become equal to fixed cost, you have made a break-even.
Okay.
Right? This is what it is. So it is that volume where you have recovered your costs.
Okay.
Right? So exact calculation of that, somebody else will teach you in accounting sessions, right?
Okay.
So multiple variations can be offered For example, I have told you I am in the MBA programs, right? And there is a
Sir, can I?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Can I leave for now because I need to catch the need to catch the bus. Okay, okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So there is a concept about better hardened also. That means your utilization of the people will be very, very high. And you ensure that people are engaged in the jobs. This is what it is, right? So this is the kind of thing which you can think about. By the way, if you have to make this product, there is a concept about core focus also. And people also say this thing very clearly. That means in the case it is mentioned that you are producing only nose and wing section. I think nose only, right? Nose and wing section, this is what they are saying. And all other things, they are getting it made by 1300 vendors. It is that kind of business where even vendors want you to be successful. What will be the pressure on them to give the quality? Very, very high. Are you able to say this? All risk is being divided across number of vendors also, right? So they are integral part of your system, right? Yeah, Deepak? You have a question? Okay. He doesn't have the question, right? So I can lower his hand, right? So this is the kind of thing. So basically they are assemblers in some sense or the other. For example, whatever we do only 2-year MBA. Rest of the things are only plus, plus, plus and minus, minus, minus. So we do only one program in that sense with all our particular considerations. That doesn't mean we don't put effort on other programs. Of course, we put a lot of effort on other programs also. But our basic thing is if we make this thing correct, rest of the things are offshoot of this thing. So what other things you require? This is what it is in project. I don't have to repeat this, but whatever I am saying you, there are sessions related with organizational behavior also in this course. So discipline, dedication, motivation, cultural, all those kind of aspects are also there. Communication also, feedback also, all those kind of sessions will be there in this overall program, which consisted of 56 sessions, right? So this is the kind of thing. So please attend all the sessions properly. So this is just an introductory session. So I'm mentioning all those kind of things. These two things I will cover in this my sessions, right? Schedule and all those kind of things. You might have heard about CPM, all those kind of things we will cover, friends, right? So this is the kind of thing. So again, in our programs also, for this program also, we will be taking a lot of feedback about our faculty, staff. In fact, in this case also, they are having this culture of feedback. Now, having said all this, I wish to create poll. Would you like to do online and inline? So you understand what is inline, what is offline, right? What is inline? Whatever you are making, right? Whatever your plan, you keep exactly like this, right? No change. In offline, what will happen is, sorry, I did wrong. In inline, you will correct the things as it is, and then you will move ahead. Offline means you are doing whatever you are doing, keep on doing that, but you do the correction only at a separate place, retrofitting, right? So this is the kind of thing. So which option, if you would have been there, given this complete kind of information, you would like to go?
I can say right away, I would go with.
So let's take a little bit of the this thing.
Offline, sir.
So I don't know. Bhaisab, is there any support services? The person is not there. And
yes, sir.
How do I create the question so that I can take the poll?
Polls for feedback, sir.
I am talking about the session question, which I want to launch now, not feedback. Feedback you take later on. You have not given me the right to create the question.
So frame inline question.
Ruko to say, not participant. I'm talking to the support person. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Can you create a question now?
Yes, sir. Let me check, sir.
And you give me the rights from next session onward.
Yeah. Sir, in the meanwhile, sir, can you explain once more the inline process?
Of this class, not you. You understand? So can you create a question? Fatafat?
Yes, sir.
Just create the question and give me the right. Can you give me the right now? Otherwise, I have to dictate the question to you. Can you give me the right? Are you there? I am
Yes,
Indore
sir.
वाले आप हो. आप मेरी बात का आंसर तो करो. आप आंसर ही नहीं कर रहे भाई.
Yes, sir. I am checking it from my side, sir.
हाँ, you are checking.
Yes, sir.
I think you will not be able to do that now. So what you do is you make a question for me because I think you have the right.
Yes, sir. Let me ask to institute. I am asking them to they create bill, sir.
What they will create after half an hour?
No, sir. We create right now. I am asking them, sir.
Okay.
Just now I am asking them.
Right. So I think we will take this question in the next class. Right. So in the meanwhile, please read the case also. I think they will not be able to do immediately, and unnecessarily we will be wasting time right here, sitting here, right? And you have some other jobs also, right, to be done, being a weekend, right? I don't want to come in front of that. So my request is read the case again, right? In any kind of question, come back to me again, right? So we'll be starting from here itself in the next session, right? Okay, good luck.
All right.
Tomorrow also.
All right.
Right?
Sir, before we log off, I want to confirm. So whatever we have discussed, it's all about introduction of
introduction to project,
not the network techniques.
अभी नहीं. अरे भाई network technique बनाया नहीं यार, तुम बोल रहे network अभी कैसे बनाया? Network technique. This is very interesting.
Sir, actually
you have not seen also, but you imagine that we have
just
wanted to actually we received the schedule in the Excel format. Today's there were two sessions.
We will do it. Whatever I have promised, छोड़ूंगा नहीं मैं आपको.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Next class will be on the next Saturday, right?
No, sir. So section A tomorrow. Timetable देखा?
next Saturday है.
अच्छा next Saturday.
Saturday है. 26
Tomorrow उन्होंने फिर section B का कर दिया.
अभी का होगा.
अच्छा वो इसीलिए confusion था सर. दो क्लास है Saturday Sunday तो.
Whatever is the timetable that will be honored.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
सर 2 मिनट वेट कर सकते हैं क्या? एक क्वेरी.
नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं कर सकते. बताओ, लेकिन बताओ.
जो लोग नहीं समझ पा रहे हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल मैं हर चीज पूरी नहीं समझ पाया.
अरे तो फिर पूछता नहीं है.
नहीं तो सर, नहीं मैं उस लेवल पे नहीं था जहाँ मैं पूछ पाऊँ.
अरे तो तुम शर्माता क्यों है? देखो
सुनिए ना, मेरे को एक बार कंप्लीट तो करने दीजिए सर. मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है. मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि सपोज अगर आपकी क्लास खत्म हो गई बट मुझे इस टॉपिक्स के बारे में कुछ समझना है, so is there a way I can do that?
First is video.
Okay.
Second is approaching me.
ठीक है सर, noted.
Okay. ठीक है. और देखो इस एग्जांपल से I am telling everybody, जो if you really want to learn, become shameless. You understand? Become shameless. That is the best way to learn. Don't worry about what others will think or whatever they will perceive. Doesn't matter in life. Right? Sometimes your speed is less. Sometimes your speed is right. So this is. अरे भाई साहब, सब लोग के माइक ऑफ करो. Right? So basically what I'm trying to tell you is be shameless. आपने देखा होगा there is a mythological story about one of the character known as Angad in Ramayana. What he did? टायर लेके
लंका में चला गया.
Network glitch, sir.
I think we lost him.
Ask everybody, right? Yeah, Sahil.
Yeah, sir. This is a generic question, last question, not related to this topic, but it is like we were told in the introduction session that we will get access to e-library. So
those questions, office.
Okay,
right?
sure, sir.
In fact, let me tell you my mail ID also.
So it is there in Gmail. You have dropped a mail during the session.
Okay, yes, sir. Okay. But then number also 97555533.
Anyways, I posted it to Rajat. I have dropped mail to him for e-access. Maybe he will address and I'll reply to all.
And further, these are the numbers, right? On WhatsApp, I will be available.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Right. So WhatsApp में पहले which program you are coming from, what doubt, then it will be easy. Otherwise, there are so many candidates. I don't know. Your answer, I'll give it to somebody else. Right. And then he will be also confused why he is talking like this. Right. So this is what it is. That will be easing up the situation here. Right. Okay, good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rajat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks, sir. Thanks, sir.
Please provide your feedback.
Yes.
Rajat, you are there, or is
I
exit?
think we dropped.
He's dropped. Rajat, you have dropped, is it?